I see her on right now, but I will send her an email.
If
Okay.
you want to, we obviously have some other items you want to jump on those. We can get going and then circle
Yeah,
back.
we can just go, I just want to see, we can just reverse the agenda, so it's no big deal on
Thank
that.
you, ma'am.
Okay, we have no consent items. Councilmember Gardner, are you okay with the minutes?
Yep, the minutes are fine with me.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and approve the minutes and I'll sign those. Trevor, go ahead for the sales tax simplification task force.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to give you an update. This task force is it's a legislative interim task force that they meet during the summer, during the off sessions and during when they're not in session, excuse me. And they cover topics regarding simplification of sales tax, and a lot of times it ends up targeting home rules as reasons for complications. So we've continued to be involved with that and supporting CML. And also the municipal representatives that are on the task force. We do have, there's a large city representative, and that person comes from Denver, and we work with them as well. And we do work with the committee, and we oftentimes will testify at that committee, and just making sure that that's still supported by council, but to provide some testimony in regards to our status and the issues facing the city, and providing information for the legislative members as they make decisions there. And so that process will be spinning up again this summer. They're going to be looking, I think, at construction use tax and some other topics. As we saw in the past legislative session, there was a bill that it didn't come out of this interim committee. It actually came out of another one that basically forced an exemption on 6 home rule cities regarding the construction materials for schools. So those types of things we'll be keeping an eye on, and I do expect that there may be some litigation over that one. That one's particularly unnerving because the logic they used to push that exemption through, they could use that in other areas as well. So there's reasons for us to be kind of concerned about that. I think one of the main reasons I asked to have this on the agenda is that the simplification task force over the past few years authorized a sales and use tax simplification system. And the intent of that system was to be kind of a statewide remittance portal that would be beneficial for businesses that work in multiple jurisdictions. So they could simply file in one place without having to go to each city to filing with the state. When they purchased that system, when the state purchased that system, they did not go with their primary system vendor, which is Fast Enterprises, which is Gentax. That's what we use here at the city of Aurora. They instead used a much smaller vendor that had been working with small cities in Colorado called MuniRevs. And they also, I think that the way I would describe it is they took the cheapest option when they purchased that system, and they ended up returning several $1 million in budget that they had authorized to build that system. And since then, MuniRevs has been purchased by a company out of Texas called GovOS. The system that they've built, I would say, is substantially deficient. And there's been a lot of issues, particularly for home rule cities, trying to get on that system. It's creating a lot of manual work for cities. There's just a lot of kind of bugs coming through it. And they're not ensuring things like account numbers are on returns, those things. One of the things that they were supposed to do was set up an integration with local municipalities, and they ended up pushing that cost on the municipalities, but capping it at 17,500. We did sign up for that integration. We were the first city to sign up for that because we didn't want to go backwards in our tax processing and end up having to add staff or whatever to process returns when we've invested a substantial amount of money in our Gentax system. They have, we agreed to start that process back in October of 2020. They said there would be an 8-week deliverable to basically, it's kind of an account lookup on our end and a file. Basically, they develop a file that they send to us. We still do not have a functional file from them. And so we have not been able to actually turn that system on for the city of Aurora. And the new vendor basically kind of stopped working on fixing a couple of the errors that we found in it, and said, we'll get to it when we get to it. And the last time we got any work out of them was on April 5th. So I have expressed my frustration with the Department of Revenue They've provided some indication that they may be working on it again, but it's still kind of this long process. So that part of it is concerning. We can't go live on it, and that may actually be affecting us as far as enforcing economic nexus. So there could be some revenue impacts, because one of the things we wanted to do was get on that system. So we add an extra layer of simplification for filers, so we can enforce economic nexus. Additionally, the state has passed Senate Bill 32, which said, if they're filing through that system, then you basically issue a non-physical presence retailer a license there. There's another aspect to this that's important for Aurora businesses, is that we do want simplification for businesses. That it definitely was one of the benefits of this, particularly for Aurora businesses that file in multiple jurisdictions. One of the things with the system is that it is not small business friendly. What they did was, instead of setting up a form, a sophisticated form, or tax return filing form, they actually have it as a spreadsheet filing process, where they have to set up a spreadsheet, and they actually have to insert columns for the city of Aurora for the various deductions. So you actually have to go in and manipulate and work this spreadsheet. So if you're a small business, it is not friendly. I mean, for once accountants kind of figure it out, they can kind of work it, but then of course there's a million ways to break that, and then end up sending errors, through that system. I brought this up, and a number of the other cities did, and I brought this up to the task force in testimony back in September, and they asked the Department of Revenue for an ask to develop that further. And so far, we didn't see anything come out in the legislative session for that. There's rumors that they may be trying to work on that. I volunteered to be part of this to kind of put some adults in the room as to how some of this should work. But haven't seen substantial progress in that area either. So there may be issues with the task force. I think one thing I'm just trying to make sure you're aware of, is that sometimes some of the information coming out is put out a little bit rosier than I think what it actually is. So just wanted to kind of give you an update on those processes and answer any questions you have on that.
Okay. Councilmember Gardner, do you have any questions before I ask questions?
I don't.
Okay. Trevor, is there anything that we can do, especially, I mean, this is problematic, any type of letter, some type of advocacy? I don't know. Can you let me know? I mean, is there anything that we can do from this standpoint, from the city perspective?
Yeah, and that's partly why I was coming to you. I did get a little bit better feedback here lately that we may be able to get those final issues worked out, at least to get our integration done, but that may be something that could be helpful if I don't get something in the next week or two to get us moving. It could be helpful to have a letter of some sort from the city to apply additional
Who were the
encouragement.
sponsors? I forgot, of Senate Bill 32.
Senator Bridges and Representative Kipp were I think two of the primary.
Okay.
There were some other ones that signed on with it, and we actually worked directly with them. I wrote some of the language in that bill.
Okay, Jason.
I was just going to ask Trevor if you're okay with it, council members, to give you guys a quick update in terms of how our electronic tax filing has gone. It's a new system for us. As Trevor said, we use FAST. I really consider it a success story. As you all know, Trevor tries to be very business friendly. We've really tried to drive businesses to that and really, move away from paper returns. And it's something I know he stays on top of to make sure that it truly is delivering on, more than just making more work for our businesses. So I think and by way of you all having that, if you do talk to any of your colleagues at the state, this can be done. It is hard work. It was not easy, but Trevor and his team have successfully done that, I believe.
Okay. In terms of just the question for you, you said that are you on the task force?
I'm not directly on the task force. What I do is I will sometimes set up for public testimony, or I'll work through our representatives on there, either through CML or the actual municipal representatives that are on the task force. And they're non-voting members, only the legislative members are voting.
Oh, okay. I would just see you as a benefit on that task force.
Yeah, I'm like I said, we're fairly involved, and actually, well, Jeff Edwards now handles tax, but I support him. He's out on vacation today, but I said I'd at least get us through the SUTS process. So we definitely have a pretty fair amount of involvement and communication with our representative on there, who's Don Cordy. So.
Okay. Okay, well, if you could just let us know what we need to do on our side, especially on some of these issues that you brought forth, please let us know.
Sure.
To
Yeah.
move forward on that. So I thank you for the update, though.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Looks like I saw Lori for a minute. Hi, Lori.
Yes, she did pop in.
You're on mute.
Sorry, but that's gonna be difficulties.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start off and give sort of a state of play in DC, and then I will do a deeper dive on bipartisan infrastructure bill. That's helpful to everyone. So as you've seen in the press, there's a bipartisan framework for gun control. It has 11 Republican senators in support of the framework, and Senate Majority Leader McConnell has also said he supports it. It's key that there's 11 members. That means that it will have the 60 votes required in the Senate to get the bill passed. So everyone, I think, is pleasantly surprised about this, especially of course we're in as you know, the midterm elections are around the corner. So it's been hard to get a lot of things done this year, but it does look like they're going to pass the bill before July 4th. They've been writing bill text this week, and it should be ready to go to the floor hopefully next week. I'm just going to outline a quick, I've sent it over to Roberto and to, excuse me, sorry, on the framework, but let me just read it out loud as well. So it's going to provide resources to states to create and administer their own laws that help ensure deadly weapons are kept out of the hands of individuals who have been deemed to be a significant danger to themselves or others. It's going to expand community behavior health centers and put a lot more money into providing access to mental health and suicide prevention programs. It is going to include convicted domestic violence abusers, individuals subject to domestic violence restraining orders. It's going to provide more money for school-based mental health, more money for school safety resources. It's going to crack down on criminals who illegally evade licensing requirements. And it's also for buyers under 21. It's going to require an investigative period to review their mental health and their juvenile records. And it also there's going to be penalties for straw purchasing. Senator Cornyn is the lead Republican on it, along with Senator Murray of Connecticut. And I also shared with Roberto, he has a great slide deck. So I can share that with y'all soon as well.
Okay.
So any questions?
Any questions, Councilmember Gardner, on that? No.
Congress is also working on its appropriation bills for FY23. And we've been fortunate that our senators and congressmen have supported our request for our earmarks. We have one for the Martin Luther King Library that Congressman Crow and both senators supported to the, requested to the committee. And also the Senator Hickenlooper and Congressman Crow supported our lead pipe request that World Water has been working on. This week, the House Appropriations Committee started marking up some bills. They did Department of Homeland Security, military construction, legislative branch. They are going to do Transportation HUD next week, which is where our earmark is in. That they're going to do that on Thursday, and they're going to do Interior, where our water earmark is in, on Tuesday. So at the end of both of those days, I should know if the Appropriations Committee included our earmark. I feel sure one of them at least will be included. But I can't guarantee that both will be, but I will let y'all know as soon as I see that. On the Senate side, they still have not decided when they're going to do their appropriation markups. But they probably will do it sometime in July. Okay. And then have to pass a continuing resolution to keep the federal government running, because there'll be no way they can pass all 12 bills by end of the fiscal year, September 30th.
Okay. At Accelerate, I did thank Senator Hickenlooper, Senator Bennett, and Senator Crow for the earmarks during our session. So good. I brought those up, and I had a few other questions with them on transportation, but I did bring those up, so to thank them personally.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah. Okay. Is there,
So I was gonna go run through some of the infrastructure opportunities. It's such a big bill and there's money for almost everything, which is a great opportunity. Once in a lifetime opportunity for the city. But no, it's hard to keep everything straight. I have put together Excel spreadsheet for the city, and I know the infrastructure like working group is working through it. Where I have a description of the program, the amount of money, who's eligible, and then the notice of funding opportunity or NOFO status. So far, there have been several grant opportunities offered. There was another raise opportunity. We got one of those grants 2 years ago. That deadline was a couple months ago. The city was not ready to apply for that round this year. And they're gonna make it awards end of July, early August. There was a freight grant opportunity called Infra, which I think the state requested money from. That was what actually the airport has requested money from, that we y'all passed in the city council meeting a couple months ago. Those awards are going to be made in September as well. And there is a transit-oriented development grant opportunity out right now that DRCOG could apply for. They're eligible. There's also bus and bus facilities grants that DRCOG is also eligible for. And the ones that the city I know is focusing on right now is called Safe Streets for All. And that opportunity came out 2 weeks ago. And it's for planning and implementation of comprehensive roadway safety, otherwise known as Vision Zero, programs and projects. So I know MAC and the Public Works team is looking at that grant. Okay. Next week, there are going to be 2 additional grant opportunities. One is called Reconnecting Communities. This is a program that was created by Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Padilla of California. It is to mitigate difficulties of long-standing infrastructure like interstate bridges or railroads that unfortunately since then communities have grown up around these old infrastructures, and unfortunately many times these are underserved communities. So it costs a lot. Sometimes this infrastructure is not needed. So this is a grant to take it down or to mitigate it or to provide additional infrastructure to make sure those communities have access to healthcare and education and jobs. That's coming out next Tuesday or Wednesday. And also next week is railway grade crossing eliminations. As you know, the city has several projects for this program too. There are hundreds of millions of dollars each of these projects. So we lobbied our delegation really aggressively and the program got created. Before there was nothing for this program. So that NOFO is coming out next week too. Awar Water, I don't know if they're on. They are working with the state right now through the State Revolving Loan Fund program. This is a program at EPA, a longstanding program that provides water for clean water, safe drinking water, and wastewater. What was great about the infrastructure bill is it requires the state to allocate at least 49% of this money as grants rather than a loan. And so the city is going to be able to use this as a grant versus having to pay back the money for the next 10 or 15 years. So they're working with the state on that. And Awar Water is also working on a drought resiliency plan under Bureau Reclamation that also was included in the infrastructure bill. And our whole delegation sent letters of support in for that this past week. So that's a few, it's a lot, but I have the spreadsheet that you can share with others.
yeah, if it's possible, Lori, can you get the spreadsheet out to the committee? For me, because I sit on multiple transportation committees, and I mean, I don't sit on the policy side of the transportation, so I can't always attend those meetings. So I'm not sure what's being discussed, but I think there needs to be some connectivity between what we're doing and then from this side with this committee. So is there any way that we can get the spreadsheet so I could just see what we're applying for, what we're doing? Because for NLC transportation, it would be good to have some of these stories, what we're kind of working on, because we do have opportunities there to speak at our meetings. We had a meeting yesterday, so it would have been kind of nice to kind of have some of this information, because I don't know everything that we're working on or what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah, because there's so much with this infrastructure bill. When I was sitting on transportation, it was a little bit easier because I know that MAC and all of them come to that, but I can't always attend that meeting. So for me, it would just be good to have the information just because of the transportation stuff I sit on. So absolutely. I can talk to Roberto and Hannah about it, but
yes.
if we could actually get that to the committee, just so we can be aware of what we're applying for, what we're looking at, what's available, and then I can maybe ask questions further with other departments.
Absolutely. Yes. I will send it. Yeah, they have it. I'll just remind them to send it out.
And also for water too. I know water keeps us informed because I sit on the water committee, so I kind of know about all that stuff. But really this transportation stuff is really important because I get inquiries from rail people, you know, from people, organizations from that. Are you guys applying for these grants? Are you guys, what are you doing on there? And it would be good to maybe have some answers or responses.
Absolutely. Okay.
Working with our staff as well. So
Right.
okay, that's a lot. Councilmember Gardner, do you have any questions? I don't know if he's on or, okay, I'm going to say that he probably doesn't. So Peggy, I didn't see you on our agenda, but I apologize. So do you have a state update?
No, I'm not on the agenda. I was just tuning in to make sure I didn't miss anything. So just legislative session, as you know, wrapped up. We are beginning the interim committees and we'll have the legislators starting to meet and prioritize what their agenda is for next session. They'll be meeting all summer and fall. So we'll keep you posted and up to date on those happenings. And we're also working with Hannah to meet with our delegation this summer and fall as well. So we'll keep you in the loop on those. See if you can't join us on some if your schedule permits.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I think that's one of the things I wanted to do during the summer is just make sure we build those relationships with our state partners, also with our county. So as things come up for the next legislative session, which it comes up pretty fast, you know, we have those partnerships. So that would be great if we can get some of those things scheduled with our state delegation. So
perfect. That sounds great. We'll start working on that ASAP.
Okay. Commander Hildebrand, I just wanted to see, do you have anything from the police perspective, from the Chiefs Association? I did talk with, I had a meeting today with Chief Oakes, and so he wasn't able to attend, but I just wanted to check with you. Do you have anything that we need to be kind of considering from our state perspective? I know that Chief Oakes brought up something to me that they're something we may work on. I'm not going to bring it up here, but do you have anything that you would like to bring up or talk about?
No, I'm aware of that, and I think once you know, other things happen, that'll be brought forward for consideration. But you know, obviously the legislative periods, we're interested in seeing what's going to be approaching on the horizon from the legislator, and kind of getting a footing on that and understanding on it, so we're well prepared to provide our input on those items. I'm not aware of anything currently that is of concern, unless DCM Bachelor has anything that he knows of from a law enforcement standpoint. I know Deputy Chief Jules here, and we're kind of in these flux of positions, so he probably moving forward will now be in that primary point of contact for you, but I'll be a backup as far as this Pfizer committee is concerned. So wanted to just clarify that, but I think Deputy Chief Jules meeting with somebody right now. I know he has it on his computer, but yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, Chief Commander Hildebrand, does the Chief Association, do they meet during the summer months, or is it just once? I mean, do they meet and do they talk policy?
Yeah, they do talk policy. I haven't been on one of those meetings because, like I said, at the last one, I was trying to get on the next one, and now Deputy Chief Jules in that position. So I'm glad you reminded me. I need to follow up with getting him included on that meeting. But yeah, they do just talk about legislation and policy during that. During those meetings.
Okay. So thank you for that. And again, I know it's, I thank you for your time. It's just, if there's anything that comes up from those meetings, I think it would be important, you know, if we can leverage anything, especially during our summer months, before the legislative session happens, to be a little bit proactive on things. So.
All right, sounds good. And I'll pass that on to Chris Jewell.
Okay, and again, I know I talked to Chief Oates, and you kind of know the issue, that the other thing I'm bringing up, but I know that may be something in the works, so.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Jason, did you have something to say? I saw you kind of getting ready to speak, so.
No, I was just going to say I did not have anything to add, so nothing.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Commander Hildebrand. I appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, so we have Katie.
Sorry, I was muted. Hi, Katie Rodriguez, City Clerk, and I have Dave Lathers on the line with the City Attorney's Office to answer any legal questions. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So for the first item, it's the qualification of elected officials. Last year, we had a court ruling from the district court declaring that our city charter was in violation of the Colorado Constitution. So we did pass an ordinance, or council passed an ordinance to amend the city code. However, to amend the charter, we have to go to a vote of registered electors. So basically, that's what this ordinance would do. Let me go to the next slide. It's asking council if they would like to submit a vote to the registered electors to amend the charter to be in conformance with the Colorado Constitution. And the part that would be amended is the qualifications for office. It currently states that you cannot be a felon and run for office. However, like I said, the district court stated that that was against the Colorado Constitution. And so the verbiage was changed to comply with the Constitution and to conform with it. Council does have the authority to refer amendments to this to the city charter to the voters. That's in the Colorado Constitution and the city charter and city code. Charter amendments are referred to registered electors by ordinance. So that's what this ordinance is.
Okay.
Just a brief background of the city code. A charter amendment ordinance is published like any other ordinance. The ballot will state yes or no. That will be the question. And then if a majority of registered electors vote in favor of the ordinance, it will become effective upon certification of the election results. And so to put this on the ballot for the November 7th, 2022 election, this is the schedule. So today we are, here for Pfizer, and then it would go to study session July 18th. Introduction of the ordinance would be July 25th. July 29th is actually the deadline to notify the counties of intent to participate with them. And then August 8th is the finalization of the ordinance. And so if that gets approved for us to put on the ballot, we will need to approve an IGA with the counties. That will go to study session August 15th, council meeting August 22nd, and then August 30th is the actual deadline for us to provide that to the counties. So that's all I have for this item. Do we have any questions?
Okay, Councilmember Gardner, are you on? Okay. I don't know if I see Councilmember Gardner. Because if he doesn't get on, I might have to use my authority to sponsor this and move this forward to the study session, which is something I can do according to the council rules because I don't have a majority.
Okay.
So,
Councilmember Lawson, if I may.
Yes.
This is George Kumantakis.
Hi, George.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I was going to suggest, actually, given the timeframes and our deadline to notify the counties, I was going to ask either one of you to actually move it to the June 27th meeting.
Oh, to the June 27th meeting?
If
Okay.
that's okay with staff. And Katie, I didn't have a chance to talk to you.
Are we able to add this to the agenda with the time frame for the 27th meeting, Katie?
We can. Yeah, it is past the deadlines, but seeing as this was a district court ruling and something that we need to put on the ballot for this year, I think it would qualify for a late submission and be able to be put on the June 27th meeting.
Okay, because I don't see Councilmember Gardner, Councilmember Jurinsky does not attend the meetings anymore, so it's just me. I'm going to use my authority according to the council rules to move this forward, and I'll just be the sponsor on the item for the June 27th meeting.
Okay, I will put this in eScribe and have you as a sponsor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I do have one more item,
Okay.
unless there's any other questions. I'm sorry.
There's no questions on this one.
Okay. So the second one, we have an existing IGA with Arapahoe County for the voter service and polling centers and drop box locations. So they use city-owned facilities for the elections. This IGA was approved in 2020, and it was for the election years of 2020, 2021, and 2022. They came to us because they need additional VSPC locations, and they are asking to use three more city facilities for the November 2022 general election. So the requested locations are listed here: Beck Recreation Center, the Aurora Center for Active Adults, and the Murphy Creek Golf Course. And the dates that they would like to use are listed. We've also already met with the department heads, and these dates are fine with them. Arapahoe County has already gone out there and made sure that it was accessible for individuals with disabilities. And then the current locations that they already have in the IGA are listed here. So there's already 5 locations that they use, and they're trying to see if council will approve amended IGA to include 3 more.
Okay, and Roberto and Hannah briefed me on this, so I already kind of know what this is about. So I don't have any questions. With Councilmember Gardner not here again, I will move. Can we move this? Does this need to be moved forward on the June 27th meeting, or can it go to the study session on the? I'm sorry, I have to look at my calendar.
Yeah, it can go to the next study session because the Arapahoe County is going to amend the IGA and give it to us. And so they won't even have that done until July.
Okay.
But I wanted to get this on this Pfizer meeting in preparation of that. So I don't have a draft copy of it yet.
Okay.
But the only things that will change are these 3 additional locations on the IGA.
We have a study because of the holiday. I just need to know what the, I guess the time frame, because we have a July 11th council meeting, and then on the 18th we have the study session. So what's the time frame? Do you want this? Does this need to go to the? Can this go to the study session, or do you want this moved to the floor on the 11th?
No, it can go to the study session on the 18th.
Okay, so I will sponsor this as well, and we'll move this to forward through my sponsorship for the July 18th study session.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more items from you, Katie? Is there any more items?
No, I'm sorry. That was the last one.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Water update. Kathy or Josh?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just have 2 informational items.
Okay.
And let's see, State Affairs, of course, the session has ended. We'll be attending and listening in on 2 of the interim committees, Water Resources and Agricultural Review Committee and the Interim Wildfire Matters Review Committee. And let's see, water isn't scheduled until August 4th. In the Wildfire Matters Review Committee, they haven't posted their schedule yet. So pretty quiet on the waterfront so far for the interim period. And then Councilmember Lawson, I think you're pretty familiar with this. This came to Water Policy Committee, but wanted to update FSAR and just say the Bureau of Reclamation Water Smart application did go in on Wednesday for our North Campus radial collector wells. We did get very nice support letters from Representative Crow and Senator Bennett. And then we are still expecting a letter from Senator Hickenlooper. And since you already know about that project, I won't do the project summary. So it was just those couple items I wanted to update you all on.
Okay. Well, thank you for those updates. And I am aware of because I was on the water committee, and I know those were brought up. So I'm glad that that's moving forward. Okay. I don't have any other miscellaneous matters. I guess I'm the only person saying July 22nd. We'll make sure. Thank you for working with me again, everyone. My committee is not here, but I appreciate everybody just working through all of these agenda items. And have a great weekend, and go Avs.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Have a great weekend.
Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Bye.
Bye.